to WVEB Truthsharks Radio. You are listening to WVEB Truthsharks Radio.
That's why. That's why no one can hear me, because I have my speakers set to my microphone, but for some reason it switched back to something else. So this can be a bit frustrating but for some reason I can't get my audio, my introduction on or whatever, but hey, that's okay. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm trying to turn it up and it goes right back down for some reason. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if this will work.
You are listening to WVEB Truthsharks Radio.
All right. What's up with my peeps today? Welcome to today's show. Welcome to these podcasting streets. I am your friend and DJ Southeast Vince, coming at you all the way from a place called Durham, North Carolina. And welcome to the Truthsharks Radio presentation of Black by Color Only, where I speak truth to the Black nation, whatever that is. If you have a question or a comment, make sure you season it well with respect. I will not tolerate excessive profanity, gaslighting, ad hominems, character assassinations, trolling, things of that sort. If you don't want to spend too much time on this program, just indulge yourself in any of those activities. Okay, we're adults here. We can carry on an adult conversation. I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me. We can all do so without being disagreeable. So having all said that, let's get on with the show. Let's see, I'm getting a message here. Wait a minute. Y'all give me a second here. I got to deal with my wife now. Let me deal with her. Husband's job is never done. I'll tell you that. Anyway, sometimes things happen, things that are beyond your control and whatever. And, it can be a bit frustrating, but, you got to take the good with the bad. So, hope everybody out there is doing well. Hope everybody is Staying warm out there and everything. Has been kind of warm here in Durham. We had a couple of days this week, but I'm ready to get on with the show now. So what I wanted to talk about, you all know that I am not a fan of Joy Reid. Joy Reid is where was she born? Cameroon or one of them African countries. And she became an anchor on MSNBC, and she's the lady that's always spouting off about black man this and white man this and everything. She's always race baiting, and she talks like she doesn't read or anything like that. Despite her last name, she all she talks about is how hateful Donald Trump is, which is not true. Some of the things I wish Donald Trump would stop doing is, just run off at the mouth. Just do your job, dude. But that's neither here nor there. But she gets up here. She's always talking about, how racist white people are and this and everything. And she's gotten her degree in gaslighting 101. She's a student at Gaslight University, and she's gotten her degree in gaslighting. She probably has a PhD in it. I'll say that. She's got a PhD in gaslighting, and she gets up here and she has a thing to say to Nicki Minaj. And folks, I'm not a fan of Nicki Minaj at all. I don't like her music. Her music is raunchy. It's trashy. I wouldn't let a child of mine listen to the music. I wouldn't let anybody. I wouldn't recommend anybody listen to anything from Nicki Minaj. But here of late, Nicki Minaj seems to be turning a corner, or she might be, turning herself around or something. I don't know what it is. I hope she is turning her life around and stopping the raunchy music and everything. But she got up and she was singing the praises of Donald Trump, and the woke crowd doesn't like it because Donald Trump bad, Orange Man bad, he's a racist, he's a pedophile, he's a rapist. None of them things have been proven, by the way. None of them been proven. They're just accusations that people bandy around, and they bandy around so much people just they just automatically believe it. And because they're willing to accept that Donald Trump are those things, that they actually believe it themselves. And so anybody who praises Donald Trump or has something good to say about Donald Trump, you automatically become an enemy. Because the wokists, they're the type of people, they're like, nah, you got to think like we do. We are the Borg. You will be assimilated. And so, Joy Reid is one of those that likes to bounce her lips about, Donald Trump, and along with those harpies on the View, and things like that. And of course, you got the effeminate men out there like Roland Martin and Rashad Ritchie. They get out there and they get to saying their thing. They don't even know what they're talking about. Rashad Ritchie trying to brag about all his degrees and everything, and I learned that some of those degrees that he's bragging about were not legitimate, but that's neither here nor there. Your degrees does not mean that you are absolved from being a fruit bat. Okay, you can have all the degrees in the world, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it really doesn't mean that you're intelligent. It really doesn't. People like to brag about their degrees. They get up there, oh, I got a degree here, I got a degree there. Someone says something they don't like, they say, well, where'd you get your degree? I want to see some peer-reviewed papers. None of that means that you are an intelligent person. It just means you turned your homework in on time and you passed the test. That's all the degrees mean. And you can talk about how many degrees you got here. You can talk about how many degrees you got there. You can talk about this and talk about that and everything. It does not mean that you are an expert, and it does not mean that you are intelligent. It really doesn't. You know, we put this thing on people that, oh, this person must be real intelligent because he's got a degree. He went to college. That doesn't mean anything. Especially in today's atmosphere, you know, colleges are nothing more than indoctrination centers. You know, parents get up here and they're so proud. Oh, my child's going to this university. My child's going to that university. And they're so proud of their children because, you know, they're going to a prestigious university. It doesn't mean anything. You being proud of your children is not going to help them get a job. You're so proud. Oh, you're so proud. You're so proud. Especially black folks, you know, black folks, they love, oh yeah, he graduated from this and that. But then when you get to someone, who doesn't think like normal mainstream liberal black America, and they've been to college, they got their degrees and everything, you know, all of a sudden they get disrespected. Their degrees aren't worth anything, you know. So, but you know, getting back to Joyless Reed, she gets up here, she starts going off on the gums about Nicki Minaj, you know, and let me pull this up and let me play this so you can hear it.
What did you think about Nicki Minaj?
Listen, speaking of undocumented people, this lady came here, and by the way, we share a birthday, so it's a little weird that we always come. We've had beef before, so I was a fan of her music. I think she's a musical talent. I mean, just like Kanye West, these are talented musicians.
They're not
Nobody should never
talented.
listen to anything
I'm
she
just
says
going to be
other than
honest.
just her
They're not
music.
talented.
This lady came here at 5 years old, undocumented. She understands what it's like to be undocumented. Grew up in this city. She's deportable because she definitely was undocumented originally. She is a Trinidadian. She didn't say anything about the killing of those Trinidadian fishermen. I'm quite sure the people in Trini noticed that she doesn't seem to care about her people. And the idea of sucking up to Trump, not long after you said you don't want a Melania because you don't want a weak woman, right? You don't want somebody that's just sucking up to the president. And after you criticized his deportation policies yourself, and now all of a sudden you're kissing his ass.
What do you think happened?
I think she has a brother and a husband who've got some serious legal issues around pedophilia, particularly her brother, who's serving 25 to life or something for the violation of a child or of children. And I think she's thinking, how I could get a pardon? I'll go be friends with the Turning Points USA people. I'll kiss Trump's ass and Vance's ass, and maybe I'll get pardons, and maybe I won't get deported. I mean, my cynical self says that she's trying to protect herself, her brother, and her husband from the administration by kissing their ass.
What did you think about Nicki Minaj?
Listen,
Okay, I'm going to play this
speaking of
again, and I'm going to give you.
this lady came.
I'm going to give you my take on certain segments of what she said. Now, listening to Joy Reid, you know that she's pretty much an idiot. She really is, and she gets paid millions of dollars. Now, this is a woman who's always race baiting and talking about the white man is trying to keep the black man down and all this and everything, but she making millions of dollars just to be an idiot. And I feel like more of an idiot because I'm in the wrong field. If you can go and be a public speaker and just say the most idiotic things and get paid millions of dollars for it, I'm in the wrong career. I'm going to be honest with you. But this woman is a straight up grade A idiot. Now, let me play this again. I'm going to stop at certain segments and give you my take.
Here, and by the way, we share a birthday, so it's a little weird that we always we've had beef before. So I was a fan of.
Why is it so weird that she shares a birthday with you? Why is that? Why is that weird? I mean, there are millions of people who share your birthday. So how is that weird that Nicki Minaj shares your birthday? I know at least 4 people personally that share my birthday. I don't see anything weird about it. I wasn't the only person born on October the 16th, you know. Now, I haven't seen anyone born on October the 16th, 1968, but there are plenty of people who share my birthday. You know, I don't know why she thinks that's weird. Let me go on.
Music, I think she's a musical talent. I mean, just, like
And she's about to talk about Kanye West, but she said Nicki Minaj is a musical talent. I would beg to differ with you. Nicki Minaj and Kanye West and all these other popular artists. Who was that did the Super Bowl show last year? Kendrick Lamar. They suck. I don't care if you like them or you like their music and their music moves you. They suck because their music, it's not music. It really isn't. It's broken melodies, hardly any harmony, and they set it to a beat. And really, their music sounds real lazy. It really does. So I'm just letting you know that I'm not a fan of Nicki Minaj or Kanye West or any of the rest of these boneheads out here. You know, but let me go on.
Kanye West. These are talented musicians. Nobody should never listen to anything she says other than just her music. This lady came here at 5 years old, undocumented. She understands what it's like.
Okay, she came here 5 years old, undocumented. First of all, she didn't come here by herself. That's the first thing. And second of all, is she anybody out there listening to the sound of my voice? Can you figure out if Nicki Minaj has been naturalized as a U.S. citizen? And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe Nicki Minaj is trying to peep and hide and, duck and hide or anything like that. I think Nicki Minaj has done her thing to stay in this country. She might be naturalized or whatever. And let me go on.
To be undocumented, grew up in this city. She's deportable because she
says she's deportable. Well, what about you, Miss Reed? What about you? Let's pull up your status. Okay. Let's pull up some dirt on you. Now, Joy Reid was born on December the 8th, 1968. So she's almost 2 months younger than I am because I was born on October the 16th, 1968. Oh, that's weird. She was born the same year I was. And, and I also discovered that Roland Martin, he was born in November of 1968. So I guess that's weird that both of them, that all three of us share the same birth year. But I digress. Now, Reed was born in Brooklyn, New York City. Her father was from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and her mother was from Guyana, which is Guyana is eastern South America. So her father was from the interior of Africa, and her mother is from Guyana in South America. Now, have any of her parents been deported? Because she's probably sitting there like, they're deportable too. But have they been deported? And see, the only reason why someone would speak like she does is because, oh, these people, they share my same skin color, but they don't think like I do. And it's kind of funny that she talks about cultural appropriation sometimes because, I'm sitting here looking at this video with her. She's got her hair cut down and I think it's blonde. So, I've seen her with blonde wigs before, and she wants to talk about cultural appropriation, but she does the same thing. But yeah, her folks are from. Okay. I'm reading here that her mother died of breast cancer. And Reed, she attended Harvard University, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Harvard University is churning out a bunch of boneheads, really. People think, oh, you made it because you went to Harvard. You spent the money. Yeah, you spent the money. You passed the test. You turned your homework in on time. And you did that for 4 years or how many amount of years. And then you get to walk across with a cap and gown and woohoo, I got my PhD. I got my degree and everything. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm on my way. That means anybody who doesn't have this piece of paper in my hand, you can't tell me nothing, But this is what she excels in, gaslighting. She does it all the time. And all the rest of the wokeists, they get out here, they always gaslighting people. Oh, the reason why you're doing this is because of this. You don't know why anyone is doing anything. But she gets paid millions of dollars. I'd like to see her home. She wants to talk about the white man this and the white man that. I would love to see where she lives. I guarantee you she's not living in a shack or 2-bedroom apartment and driving around a little clunker of a car. I guarantee you she is not. But she knows what her audience loves, so she goes out there and she says some of the worst. She can spout off all this nonsense because she knows there are people out there who are willing to listen to her, and they will take her at her every word. So she can go out there and act stupid, talk stupid, and whatever, and she knows people are going to listen to her because her audience is uneducated. They're not going to go out and check this stuff out. They're not going to, and not only that, if they do go out and check something out, and they find out that their point of view is wrong, they're still going to go with their original point of view. So, but anyway, let me go on.
Definitely was undocumented originally. She is a Trinidadian. She didn't say any.
Said undocumented originally. I wonder if her father and mother were undocumented originally. I digress. Let me go on.
About the killing of those Trinidadian fishermen. I'm quite.
Okay, now someone educate me on this. She said something about some Trinidadian fishermen being killed. And I think she's trying to refer to Donald Trump bombing these fishermen. They're out there just fishing and everything, and then big old orange man drops a big old orange bomb on top of them and just kills them non-discriminately. Just hey, people down there fishing. Okay, let me drop this bomb on them. And see, they like to embellish these stories because they're trying to get an emotive response from their audience. When Donald Trump, he started bombing these, and these are not fishermen. I don't know if they're from Trinidad or anything, but I know they're from South America. Trinidad's in the Caribbean. But when Donald Trump started bombing these fishermen who were bringing fentanyl into this country, fentanyl kills about 100,000 people a year, if I'm correct. And he's trying to slow down, slow the stream of fentanyl into the country. And so he started bombing boats, which I have no problem with that. But they started saying, oh, he's just bombing fishermen. Innocent fishermen. They're just out there trying to provide for their families. And big orange man got to drop a bomb on them. And see, this lets me know that people on the left, our media, our government, they really don't care about the U.S. All they care about is what kind of emotion they can elicit from somebody, because That's how they can rake in those delicious votes every election cycle. And Joyless is she's not gonna run for office, not to my knowledge, but because she wants to see a certain type of person in office, she takes the opportunity. She's in a position to where she can influence the thinking of her audience. That's why she talks like she does. But shoot, I guarantee you, man, I'm in the wrong career. I am really in the wrong career. I mean, I'm sitting here in Durham, North Carolina. I'm 57 years old. I'm living in a 2-bedroom apartment, 750 square feet. And I can be living high on the hog, just like Joy Reid and those harpies on The View and Jasmine Crockett and all the rest of them. Just get up there, say any kind, just spout out what any kind of nonsense, and you get paid for it. And then turn around and make it look like, oh, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Well, if you're a victim, chain me to the wall. Chain me to the wall. If that's victimhood, chain me to the wall. They get up here and they use their platforms. They get up here and they start talking about the rich and everything, and how the rich are so greedy, and the rich don't want this, and they want to keep poor people down, especially us poor Black people. And here you are living better than probably 99% of white folks in this country. And then when someone points that out, you say, well, we had to work twice as, you ain't had to work twice as hard. How hard is it to spout off with a bunch of nonsense? Someone please tell me. How hard is that? I can do that myself. I mean, it's easy. Let me continue on.
Sure, the people in Trinity noticed that she doesn't seem to care about her people. And the idea of sucking
care about her. And see, this is another thing that gets on me, that burns my bacon. They're always talking about you got to care about your people. What people? What people are you talking about? See, this is why I don't like being part of a collective. Because when a majority of that collective, they want to talk like a bunch of fruit bats, like this woman is. They think you're supposed to think like they do. And they sit there and say, oh, you're my people. No, you're not my people. I want every Black, left-leaning, whatever, pro-Black person out there to understand this. You might share my same skin color, but that does not mean you are my people. My people like to use common sense. My people like to follow the truth. My people are not perfect. I'll tell you that. We're not perfect. But we're always looking to seek out the truth. She doesn't care about her people. Let me go on.
To Trump, not long after you said you don't want a Melania because you don't want a weak woman, right? You don't want somebody that's just sucking up to the president. And after you criticized his deportation policies yourself, and now all of a sudden you're kissing his ass.
What do you think happened?
I think she has a brother. And
you all, I apologize for the language. I really do. I didn't have enough time to go in and bleep out everything and stuff like that. But she's saying that at one time she was against Trump and yada yada. Well, people can change their minds. People can look and say, you know what, I've been thinking like this for a certain amount of time, and now I done found out the truth, so I want to hold on to the truth. And it's almost like Joy Reid is saying, well, how dare her find the truth and still don't want to follow the lie? I mean, I change my mind about things all the time. I see, I like to keep an open mind because I realize, people keep calling me smart and everything and stuff like that, but I realize I don't know everything. And if somebody can come up and tell me my point of view is wrong and they can show me proof that what I'm thinking is wrong, or they can convince me that the way I've been thinking has been wrong, I'll change myself in a heartbeat. There's no pride to hurt here. I'm not going to sit here and just continue to believe something simply for the fact of believing it.
Husband,
Okay.
who've got some serious legal issues around pedophilia, particularly her brother, who's serving 25 to life or something for the violation of a child or of children. And I think she's thinking, how I can get a pardon? I'll go be friends with the Turning Points USA people. I'll kiss Trump's ass and Vance's ass, and maybe I'll get pardons, and maybe I won't get deported. I mean, my cynical self says that she's trying to protect herself, her brother, and her husband from the administration by kissing their ass.
What did you think about
Her cynical self. Yeah, she's cynical. She's boneheaded. She's a fruit bat. I mean, this and Joy Reid is only part of the problem. She's only part of the problem. But it's people like her. I mentioned Roland Martin and Rashad Ritchie. You got Al Sharpton and whatever. They want to they want to poison the narrative. Like they're still going around here talking about ICE agents are just kidnapping people all over the place. I was watching a video before I got on the show, and some people, they were trying to give ICE agents some problems. They always want to get in the face of an ICE agent, but then an ICE agent deals with them. Oh, all of a sudden, they're murdering people. These people got kids. They murder a person. This person knows poetry. So? But that's what they do. They love the gaslight. And because they know they have a commanding position in place of in the media, they know that whatever they say and how they say it and how it comes off to their audience can affect what they believe. They don't care about the truth. They really don't care about the truth. What they care about is ratings. That's all they care about. When you are sitting down watching the news media do their little thing, keep in mind that person who is spouting off with the nice dress or the Armani suit and tie and whatever, keep in mind that these people are millionaires. And they have crafted a way to get you to think a certain way. Because they can take a 1 hour long interview and edit it down to about 30 seconds and get you to think a certain way, because they want to see a certain response from you, and they get that certain response, they can put it up there. They'll get a lot of looks, they'll get a lot of looks of people, and people ooh, and their ratings go up, and because their ratings go up, they get paid more. It's a money gig. What people talk about, the biggest scams are multi-level marketing and all that. No, the biggest scam is the news media. That's the biggest scam. They get up there, they tell you, hey, trust us. Hey, we're trustworthy. We're going to tell you what's going on around the news or around the world. We're going to give the news to you straightforward. And all they're trying to do is to get a certain reaction from you so that their ratings can go up. They don't care about you. It's the same thing about, the wokists in the government. They don't care about you. That's crazy mess. That's crazy mess. And we just sit here and you know the people who really are the stupid people, and I don't like using that word really, but the stupidest people are the people who vote for these people and give them credibility. Those are the stupidest people. We can call them stupid because we can call the news media personalities, we can call the politicians, we can call them stupid all we want to, but who is really stupid are the people who keep voting them in and giving them credibility. Those are the stupid people, because they go off on emotions. They don't go off on logic and reasoning. And you know what? The elite wokeists, they love it like that. They want you to be stupid. They want you to be dumb. That's why they're trying to dumb down our children in these public schools. That's why they're doing that. Because they want you to believe whatever they feed into your mind. They don't want critical thinking skills. They don't want you to sit there and say, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to question what you're saying until I get all the evidence out. They don't want that. They really don't want that. They want to be, and this is probably why a lot of them don't believe in God. They want to be God. They want to be the ones to control your belief system. I think I heard that 92% of the news media doesn't even believe in God. They don't even go to church. They want to play God. And a lot of us are too stupid to see it. And even when someone points it out to you, they want to sit there and make fun of you and launch into the character assassinations. Oh, you're stupid. You ask them a question, they can't give you a straight answer. They always dance around. They dance around like Michael Jackson. But these are the people. These are the people who are feeding into us today. And really, be honest with you, I have no problem that there is a news media. I really don't. You got freedom of the press. I have no problem with it. The problem I have with it is when people take them at their word. A lot of times when I'm on this program, or if I do a YouTube video or something like that, I will tell people, don't take my word for it. Check out what I am talking about. Because unlike a lot of people out there in the media, I'm a person who realizes he doesn't know everything, and I can get it wrong. And this is another thing about our loyal news media. A lot of times when you point out a story that they say, oh yeah, this is the evidence, and then when they're pointed out that they're wrong, they don't get up and say, oh, you know what, you all, I made a mistake and I want you all to forgive me. Nah, they just ignore it and go on to another story. A couple of weeks ago, we had a man, I think it was at a town hall meeting. He threw some chemicals. He threw a liquid onto Ilhan Omar, the lady up in Minnesota, who's at the center of all this corruption up there in Minneapolis. He got up there. He threw a substance. They said it was a substance. He threw a liquid. And the news media ate that up. They were like, yeah, look at it. Look, I bet you he's a Trump supporter. Yeah, what did he throw on her? What did he throw on her? Acid? Did he throw ammonia? He threw apple cider vinegar on her. Apple cider vinegar. Y'all, I drink apple cider vinegar almost every day. Doesn't hurt me one bit. He threw apple cider vinegar on her. And not only that, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I also saw a picture of the guy who threw the vinegar on Omar. I saw both of them in a picture. You know, they were taking a picture together. Now, someone explain that to me. I'm not saying that that picture is true. I'm just saying that but you don't hear anyone talking about it anymore, do you? You don't hear anyone saying, "Yeah, look at this, look at it, look, they don't look at them Trump supporters." Another case that people they were just divided in this country about. Y'all remember Crystal Mangum back in 2006? She made the accusation that she got raped by 3 men on the Duke lacrosse team. And people were sitting there like, "Oh, if it was a black person, he'd be under the jail. He'd probably be dead." I remember on my job, you know, we were watching a clip of the 3 men who had gotten accused of raping this girl, and one of my coworkers said, "Look at them. They look guilty." Well. Here we are, 17 years later in 2024. Crystal Mangum gets up. She decides to fess up and say, "I lied on them. I lied. And I hope they can forgive me." Oh, but no one came out and said, "Oh my goodness, are you serious? She played us. She played us like a 10-cent flute." Nope. It didn't catch on. They just, oh well. That's how they do. They're not going to get up there and apologize and say, "Oh, I was wrong." You know, their pride won't let them do that. Their pride won't allow them to, you know, come out with the truth. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the devil, says he abides not in the truth. He's a liar and the father of it. The truth abides not in him. Truth doesn't abide in a lot of these people in the news media. They don't care about the truth. Matter of fact, they despise the truth because the truth cramps their style. It exposes their agenda. They don't like the truth. To them, the truth is like the snitch that, you know, they talk about snitches get stitches. That's how they see the truth. The truth exposes all their mess, and they don't like it. But I tell anyone, and folks, don't look. I don't care whose side you're on, conservative, liberal. Both sides do it, but nobody's as artful with it as the liberals are. But both sides do it, and I don't care if you watch Fox News. I don't care if you watch CNN. I don't care if you watch Newsmax or whatever. When you look when you're sitting there and you're watching these people, you know, telling you the day's news, take it with a grain of salt. Say, okay, I see what you're talking about, but let's check this out with the facts. Yeah, Fox News, they've been caught too. They've been caught too. But most of the time, it's always those on the left. And people, oh, look at Fox News though. Look at Fox News. Look at Fox News. Yeah, look at them. Look at them. I think Fox News first came on the air back in 96 or 97. Heck, I wasn't even 30 years old then. But ABC, CNN, all the rest of them, they've been to that dance several times. They've been to that dance several times. And if Fox News is is corrupt and everything, well, they only learned it from the best. ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. But they want to sit there and act like, oh, Fox News, they came along and they just messed up everything. Well, Fox News wanted you to hear both sides of the story. ABC, CBS, all the rest of them, they don't want you to hear both sides of the story. They just want you to hear their side. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to go out and do your due research, your due study. They don't want you to question what they say. When they say something, they just want you to accept it at face value. That's all they care about. That's why they want us prim and stupid. Stupidity can be profitable. Usually not for the stupid people. And people like Joy Reid, they're leading the pack. They're the ones leading the pack. But anyway, I think that's all I had to say about Joyless Reid. But I wanted to talk about something else as well. I did something that was the first time I've done this voluntarily in about 6 years, around 6 years. I actually made an effort to watch the Super Bowl this past Sunday. And I've been on a personal vendetta against the Super Bowl because they have gotten too political, way too political. It all started with Colin Kaepernick kneeling to the national anthem, talking about he didn't want to stand for a flag that oppresses black people, and his little black butt. Really, he's not black. He's half black, half white, but his black parent didn't even want him, and he was raised by two white parents. And he wants to get up and talk about, he's wearing Kunta Kinte shirts. He don't know nothing about no Kunta Kinte. Trying to wear his hair in an afro, trying to bring out his black side and all that. It all started with that. And, a lot of people, when they saw that, they were like, okay, NFL, I'm done. I'm done. Boom. Then they started the singing of LEVAS. LEVAS is my acronym for Lift Every Voice and Sing, the so-called Black National Anthem, which, when you listen to it, doesn't sound like any type of nationalism or anything. And I don't even know what a black nation is. What's a black nation? I know I'm not a member of it. And those two things, I was like, okay, well, I'll keep on watching. A lot of people I knew, they were like, we're done with you, NFL. We're sick and tired of this. And I understood it. I understood why they thought like that. I had no problem with it. But then in 2020, the Washington Redskins changed their name because they didn't like the word Redskins. They said it was offensive to Native Americans, even though a lot of them were like, we have no problem with it. They said it was like calling a black man a nigger. I mean, back in the day, when I was growing up, one of the biggest sports rivalries was the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. Big rivalry. But now they changed their name because they want to be politically correct. We don't want to offend people. without realizing you offended a whole bunch of Native Americans. In my day, they call them Indians. I don't know why it's so offensive to call them Indians. Well, they're not from India. Okay, well, for the longest time, we call them Indians. I mean, I don't see what's so insulting about that. But anyway, I digress. So, I say, you know what? I'm done with the NFL. I'm done. Uh-uh. I don't buy their stuff. Not unless I get it off of something like eBay or something like that. But I'm not giving my dollars to the NFL because they've gotten too politically correct. And I'm not for all that political correctness and everything. Look, when I watch a game or something like that, I don't care about your politics. Just give me a good game. Give me like I watch a movie. You got these movie stars out here. They want to talk all woke and everything. Look, I don't watch your movie to hear your political viewpoints. I want to see if it's going to be good. But anyway, I started skipping, watching the NFL, stop watching games, stop watching the Super Bowl. I would probably watch highlights or something like that. A couple of times, like one guy, he asked me, could I root for his Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl when they played against, who was it? They played against the Eagles. That first time they played against the Eagles. And I said, okay, cool. Kansas City was one of my favorite teams anyway. And I said, yeah, I'll watch it. And I was rooting for them and they won. And then last year, some folks invited me to a Super Bowl party. I said, okay, cool. Once again, it was the Chiefs against the Eagles again. This time, Kansas City didn't fare too well. Oh, boy. But this year, I said, you know what? Against my better judgment, I'm going to go ahead and watch the Super Bowl. Let me just go ahead and watch the Super Bowl. And really, I could have just sat down and ate Twinkies, really. The game was boring. It was very boring. And I can't fault the players on the field for that, because it was a very defensive game, very defensive. Both teams were going at it. But when the Seattle Seahawks, which was the team I was rooting for, because Seattle was one of my elite teams, I got several elite teams. I like the Dolphins are my favorite. You got the Jaguars, you got the Titans, you got the Giants. The Giants are probably my second favorite team next to the Dolphins. I like the Saints. I like the Bengals. I like the Seahawks. And, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs is in there too. But I say, I'm going to root for the Seahawks, And the game was real boring. It really was. It was very boring. But, for several months there was an announcement made that the person who's going to be bringing the halftime entertainment was someone named Bad Bunny. Never heard of this rascal. A lot of these rascals, that are real popular now, I don't know any of them, be honest with you. Most of them I don't even know. The only time I would know them is if they're in, you might hear a lot of people talking about them in conversations or something like that. But I don't go out of my way to watch these people. And they were talking about this man named Bad Bunny. Now, first thing, Bad Bunny did not like Trump. He doesn't like Trump. I was like, well, that's fine. You can like him or not. But they said he was going to be performing in a dress. And I said, okay, well, of course, and this political correctness. See, this is why I say political correctness is going to be the death of this country. because we always want to put what's politically correct in everybody's faces. It's like the bully that takes your face and shoves it in the toilet. That's basically what they do. And I'm like, man, I ain't got no time for this. You know, I heard that. I said, yeah. And the Super Bowl halftime show has gotten worse over the course of the last 30 years. It really has. I mean, last year with Kendrick Lamar, I had the displeasure of watching that because I was at someone else's house. I had a displeasure of watching that, and I was like, this sucks. You had what's her name? Serena Williams up there doing the Crip Walk, which I thought was kind of ironic since she had an older sister who got killed by a member of the Crips, and they did the Crip Walk around her body. And they talking about they're not like us and all that. And I'm sitting there like, people call this entertainment. It's nothing. It was no entertainment value in it for me. And people, they just sitting there jamming like, yeah, this is all right. This is music. And once again, it's got that lazy element to it. I don't know if you all understand what I say when I say a lot of these, I don't know what's going on behind me, but anyway, but I hope you all understand when I say that a lot of this music sounds lazy, like someone just threw something together and put a beat to it, and then they started making some rhymes. No skill in it at all. I could probably do something like that. I have zero music skills. Zero. But when halftime came, I said, oh, okay, time for me to take a shower. And I went and took me a shower. I said, I ain't watching this garbage. And that's what the Super Bowl halftime show has been for the past, I guess, 30 years now. It's garbage. It's turned it into a freak show. People want to call it family friendly. It's not family friendly. It's not family friendly at all. And I don't understand anybody who would have their kids listening to a lot of this music that they put out today. Because these folks have no talent. This day and age. And people might say something like, well, you come from a different era. I bet in your time, the music that came before you were born, you didn't like that music. I still like some of that music, really. A lot of that Motown sound and everything. I love that music. That was before my time, and I like that music. It's songs from before my time that I do like. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The last great musical era in this country was in the 1980s. That's when music really reached its peak, in the 1980s. 1990s, they still had some hits, but a lot of the music in the 1990s started to sound kind of manufactured. Everybody was trying to go for one sound and everything. And I'm just going to be honest with you. And folks, I'm just speaking my opinion. You can disagree with me if you want to. That's fine. But a lot of that music in the 90s sounded like it was, hip hop messed up the music scene, really. Hip hop really messed up everything because now people don't play with instruments now like they used to back in the day. They like to use electronic drum machines and all this, and they used that in the 80s, but they still used instruments. You can sit there and you can listen to how the different sounds came together to make one good sound. But this mess they got now, no melody, no harmony, just a hard driving beat. That's all the music is. It's garbage. And you can disagree with me. That's fine. That's fine. But we're being dumbed down even in our music. And see, what I'm seeing in a lot of stuff is this political correctness that we always want to keep pushing. We care about you immigrants. I was listening to one guy, I like listening to watching his channel, but he was like, the Republicans, they're not godly either, which, just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're going to be godly. But he was saying that, Republicans, they're against immigrants and the poor and everything. And I said, wait a minute. No, they're not. No, they're not. If anything, that's the Democrats. Republicans are more for the law, or let me just make it. Let me just be a little bit more direct. The conservatives believe in the law. Your typical Republican has no spine. They don't want to stand up to anything. They don't want to they don't want to stick to their guns. But I was listening to this guy. I was like, wait a minute, dude. The Republicans are not trying to hold back immigrants or anything like that. They're trying to enforce the law. They're not pushing for this nonsense out here. The liberals out here want to kill babies. And black folks, you keep voting for the same people who vote for the institution, who want to support the institution that was started to kill black people. The Negro Project and all that. But y'all keep voting for these people. You want to cry about racism and every other little incident, but you never say anything about abortion and how abortion is killing off black people. Now, don't get me wrong. Abortion really isn't a race issue. Abortion is murder, no matter if it is performed on a black person or a white person or a yellow person. Abortion is murder straight up and down. But we have to look at history here. The woman who started Planned Parenthood did it so that black people could reduce the number of babies that they were having because she wanted to create a master race of blue-eyed, blonde-haired people. She was a eugenicist. She wanted to clean up the race, so to speak. She wanted a master race. But we don't hear black people, they're always so caught up on the Montgomery bus boycotts and slavery and Jim Crow and Black Wall Street and all that and everything. They that's all they care. But they are strangely silent about a woman who was a straight up racist. She actually said, we don't want the word to get out to the black folks that we want to kill them. We don't want that word to get out. She influenced the preachers of her day because they had such an influence on their black congregants. And what do you see going on today? You go to your typical black church. Go to any typical black church. And you will hear them supporting abortion and supporting Democrats. The very people who wanted to keep black people down in history. They were the ones who supported slavery. They were the ones who supported Jim Crow. They are the ones who support abortion. But we're so caught up in charisma and everything, and oh, this is the first black woman here. This is the first black man there. Oh, I'm so proud. I'm proud to be a black person. We finally got a black person here. And you call yourself a Christian. You call yourself a church person. But you support a party that stands against everything you supposedly believe in. You'll ask certain black people, say, you support abortion? Oh, no, no, no. You support homosexual marriage? Oh, no, 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 no. So why are you voting for this person right here? Because they support those things. Apparently, the issue of abortion and homosexual marriage is not that important. Being black is more important than being godly. We don't care about that. We don't care. You know, so what? Kill the kids. But they'll sit there and they'll argue you down and say, hey, no, I'm against abortion. I'm against this. Then how come you're voting for this person? Because this person, they're not Donald Trump. So what's so bad about Donald Trump? Oh, he's a racist. He's a pedophile. He's a pedophile? Where did you hear that he's a pedophile? Show me where he's been convicted of being a pedophile. Well, I heard this and I heard that. Okay, but show me the proof that he's a pedophile. I hear that so many times. People, that knucklehead in Atlanta, Jamal Bryant. Y'all supporting a known pedophile. A known pedophile? How do you know he's a pedophile? He's never been convicted of pedophilia. Never. He's a rapist. Okay, who'd he rape? Who'd he rape? Now, you just want to believe it because you don't like Donald Trump. That's the problem. But, after my experience with the Super Bowl this past Sunday, I'm not so sure I'll be watching the Super Bowl ever again. I'm not so sure of it. And it's not because the game was boring. That's not the reason why. I've seen boring Super Bowl games before. That second Super Bowl that the Patriots played against the Rams, that was boring. And I had to say last year's Super Bowl 59 was boring. But, when I watch these games, I don't watch it with the expectation that they're supposed to be exciting. I was hoping it would be exciting. I'll say, yeah, I thought the Patriots would win. I thought they were two evenly matched teams and whatever. And Seattle just came in there and took care of business. Now, I will have to say this. The Patriots had a strong defense. They really did. And they kept Seattle out of that end zone for a long. They kept them out of the end zone the entire first half. But that's not why I don't want to watch the Super Bowl anymore. How boring it is. I am sick and tired of the politics. I am sick and tired of the politics. I'm tired of this wokeness and everyone just goes off the top of their head about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not a perfect man. He never will be. I pray that he opens his eyes to the truth and that he starts following the Lord, because I don't think he follows the Lord. Not with Paula White in his corner. Paula White is not a Christian, and you can call me out on that. Paula White is not a Christian. anyone who supports the likes of Sun Young Moon, the Moonies, that cult, is not a Christian. But I support Donald Trump's policies. I'm not asking for the president to be. I'm not asking for the president to be a preacher or anything like that. Has to be his policies. And if those policies are close to my belief system, then you're going to get my vote. I don't care. I don't care about your skin color. People look at me funny, when I vote for somebody. I don't care. The same thing that goes into, people talk about, oh, we got to support black businesses. Well, if black businesses offer me a great value with a quality product, yeah, I'll support black businesses. But I'm not supporting them just for the sake of supporting a black business. Because let me tell you, some of these black folks that own these businesses, and it's with everybody, but some of these folks that own black businesses, they can be kind of full of themselves sometimes. And they think you're just, no matter how poor quality of product they put out there, they think you're supposed to just support them because they're black. I'm not going to support you because you're black. I'm going to support you if you have quality stuff. And just because you're black and you're running for office in my city or in my country or whatever, that doesn't mean you automatically get my vote. You might automatically get somebody else's vote, but you're not automatically getting mine. No. Oh, no. You got to stand for something. And a lot of these people don't stand for anything. A lot of them don't stand for anything. They just go out there. They say some of the most ridiculous stuff, and people just fall for it. I mean, just pick a clip of Jasmine Crockett. I was watching a video. Someone was critiquing Jasmine Crockett. This person said, Jasmine doesn't want to. She doesn't want to lead. She all she wants is attention. That's all she wants. And I said, yeah, I believe that. So I think Jasmine Crockett needs to get out of politics and just find her podcast somewhere. You got something to say, just do your little podcast. Probably not too many people going to watch it anyway or listen to it. Not too many people listen to mine, so I can't say nothing, but but she said some of the most ridiculous stuff. AOC, same thing. And they get up here and with the fake tears. When that lady that Renee Good that got gunned down because she almost hit a cop. Jasmine Crockett up there. Oh, what happened to you? You ain't care about no Renee Good. You didn't even know Renee Good. You up there crying your little crocodile tears. That's what they need to change her name to. Jasmine Crocodile Tears Crockett. They murdered Renee Good. No, Renee Good tried to hit a cop, and the cop pulled out his gun and started sprinkling her with pepper. And people up in the, oh, why did they kill her? Why did they do it? They murdered her. Nah, she almost hit a cop. Now, the rumor was that the cop had internal injuries. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. But folks want to, they want to make, they want to dictate the narrative. They want to be the ones to shape the narrative. They take the narrative and they mold it like clay to get you to think that it is something that it is not. And that's what the media does. They play this thing. And people are praising Bad Bunny, saying Bad Bunny was the best Super Bowl halftime not from what I heard. And not only that, the dude didn't even sing in English. How in the world are you going to come to this country and not sing in English? Now, let's say I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to do a soccer halftime show in Mexico or something like that. Do you think they would let me sing in English? Yeah, no, amigo, no inglés. Hey, speaking the Espanol, whatever. My Spanish is very rusty. A lot of things they keep trying to push over here. Go to another country. You know that this thing about having an ID before you vote, it seems to be gaining some steam again. And people up there, oh, why you got to require people to have ID to vote? Well, you got to have ID for a lot of other things. And I just realized today I had to get a MoneyGram, send some money to somebody, and they didn't ask for my driver's license. I just realized that. But usually when I go and I have to send some money to somebody, they'll ask me for my driver's license, and there it is. Boom. Hey. But you need ID for a lot of things. You need ID to get a gun. You need ID to get cigarettes. ID to drink liquor or to buy liquor. You need an ID. So what's the problem with having an ID in order to vote? People say, "Oh, it's discrimination." You know, there's so many black people who can't get an ID. And see, right there, that should be a reason for black people to never vote for another Democrat ever again. But you know why y'all keep voting for them? Because they know you're stupid. I can pick out any black person and ask them for an ID, and I guarantee you, they'll say, yeah, here's my ID right here. Here it is. Here's my ID. We're so helpless we can't get an ID. Are you serious? Before I started learning how to drive, I got me a non-driving ID. I don't even think it costs $20. Why you gotta have an ID? When you go to their little special events and everything, Democrats have their special events, guess what they're asking for? Your ID. Oh, well, that's different. No, it ain't different. They're asking for your ID. I'm like, am I in some kind of nightmare or something like that, you know, where people just lost their minds? You got to have an ID. But see, the reason why they don't want you to have an ID, see, they're the ones that, once again, they're molding the narrative. They're throwing it at you to get you to react. And they know what they're doing up top. They know what they're doing. And then you got people who are so stupid, instead of saying, wait a minute, I got an ID. What do you mean I can't get an ID? I think Joe Biden at one time, he said that black people can't use the internet. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And nobody called him out on it. The only ones who did were the conservatives, but what do they know? They're a bunch of racists anyway. They didn't call him out. I'm sitting there like, are you all kidding me? And you all still voted for this guy? Well, really, hardly anyone voted for him. They cheated. They cheated in 2020. The 2020 election was a farce. How in the world Joe Biden going to win 81 million votes? Then 4 years later, Kamala Harris doesn't get 81 million. That lets you know right there, wait a minute, something. And people were wanting Kamala over Joe. A lot of people voted for Joe Biden because they got Kamala. They were like, oh, that's the first black president. She's the first black vice president. And she's a woman. Ooh, yeah. So what happened between 2020 and 2024? What happened? How come Kamala didn't get the 81 million votes? Because a lot of you all that voted for Joe Biden, you voted for Joe Biden because you got Kamala Harris. What's his name? Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club. He said the reason why he was voting for Joe Biden was to get Kamala Harris. That's probably why he didn't call Joe Biden out when he said, if you don't know whether to vote for me or Trump, you ain't black. So, folks, I guess I'm not black. I'm not black, you know. Even though my skin is dark and everything, I'm really not black. This is one of the main reasons why I cling to my individuality. I tell people I'm a Christian first. I'm an individual second. I'm an American third. And I'm a black man fourth. My Christianity and my individuality are the two things that I value the most about me. Those are the two things I value the most. Being an American, that's okay. Yeah. And yes, I am a Christian nationalist. I'm a Christian man who loves his nation. I'm a Christian nationalist. Of course, they want to throw that term around to refer to white Christian male evangelicals. But here I am. I'm a black dude. And I consider myself a Christian nationalist. Because I love this country. Now, if you're from another country and you love your country more than the U.S., I have no problem with that. I ain't got no problem with that. I have no problem with people holding loyalty to their country. But isn't it strange that if you call yourself an American and you love American values and you just love this country, all of a sudden there's a problem with it? But if you come from another country and you try to inject your other country's rhetoric into the country that you immigrated to, you're seen as more loyal, more loyal to your country than you are to the U.S. That's supposed to be commendable. People coming from other countries, and then when they have a special day or whatever, they expect everybody to celebrate that day, like Cinco de Mayo. Look, if you want to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, you go right ahead. Doesn't mean I have to. We've had incidents where people would come from another country and they wanted to take down the flag of the U.S., a country that they're living in presently. They want to take down the flag of the U.S. and replace it with their own flag. Let me go to your country that you came from and try to take down their flag and put up the U.S. flag. Tell me and tell me how well that's gonna work out for me in the long run. And I have no problem with you waving your flag. But when you want to do it in lieu of the American flag and you're here in this country, you don't want to assimilate. That's what I have a problem with. I have no problem with you, wearing a t-shirt with your country's flag on it. I have no problem with that. But when you want to supersede the American flag with your flag, I got a problem. I got a serious problem with that because you live in America. Let me choose a country. Let's say Saudi Arabia. 4th of July comes around. I want to shoot off fireworks. You think they're going to let me shoot off fireworks in Saudi Arabia for 4th of July? Nope. My head will be rolling. But folks think they can come from their original nation and come to the United States and try to turn the United States into the nation that they just left. You left your country because you were being oppressed. Now you want to bring that same oppressive rhetoric over here to the U.S. It makes no sense. Why are you trying to turn the U.S. into your country that you fled because they were so oppressive? You need to go back to that country. Apparently, you must love the oppression. You have people over here who are suffering. You got veterans who are suffering with mental illness and everything. Got Americans here paying out of the nose for health care. But these people just simply walk across the border. Oh, we give you free stuff. Free diapers for your baby. Oh, your kids like video games? Hey, here's a video game system. Oh, you don't have to pay for anything. Them sucker taxpayers, we just get the money from them, and you all are scot-free. And see, we do this. Don't forget us when it comes election time. Who's that guy, Boss Tweed of Tammany Hall back in New York? I forget when it was. That's the same tactic he used. Immigrants came to this country. They showed extra acts of kindness to them because he knew if he did that, he'd get their votes. And some of these people would vote multiple times. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these undocumented immigrants, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have voted several times in these elections. I wouldn't be surprised. Just look it up. Look up the Tammany Tiger. They did a cartoon. They did a political cartoon about him. Thomas Nast is the same guy who did Santa Claus. He was the first person that drew Santa Claus as a big fat man in a red suit. Thomas Nast. He drew a political cartoon about Boss Tweed of Tammany Hall. But see, back then, it was easy to see the corruption. Today, it seems like everybody's corrupt. So nobody's none the wiser. I mean, all these tax dollars going out to other countries. Barack Obama sent it, what was it, $50 million? In cash, on a pallet, to Iran. But you got people here suffering, living paycheck to pay their health care. But you care more about the other nations. It's supposed to be America first, really. If you are in this country, you're the president of this country or governor or whatever, this nation comes first. But where's your Christian love? You're supposed to help out the poor and everything, not at the expense of my paycheck. That's supposed to be voluntary. You don't force me to give up my money to somebody I don't even know and pay for their health care. And I had to sit here and scrape and scrimp, sacrifice in order to have enough money to pay for the bare necessities. But you're taking my tax money, my hard-earned tax money, raising my taxes to give it to a bunch of people who I don't even know and who don't even respect our laws. Someone help me to make sense out of that. Someone please help me make some sense out of that. And we need to get the politics out of everything. Look, hey, and you all see how they've even dictated the narrative about who is the most violent and who is the least violent. They'll tell you that Oh, the liberals, they are the compassionate ones. But we see it all the time. They always want to get in someone's face. They always want to pick a fight. Whenever a black person gets gunned down by a white person, oh, it's time to riot. But when a white person gets gunned down by a black person, no rioting. But oh, no, the white people are the violent ones. The white liberals, they're the violent ones. They're the ones who want to come out here and want to steal your children and throw grandma off the cliff. But we're the compassionate ones. And you can see that that's not the case, but it's what people want to believe. It's not that they have to believe it. It's that they want to believe it. They want to believe it. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about you. All they care about is them delicious votes that you can give to them. They're greedy for your vote. And they'll say anything, they will do anything to get that vote out of you. If it's to demonize those on the other side, that's how they're going to do it. If they have to hide their votes under a table and wait till, certain people who are watching the count of the votes leave and then they pull them out all of a sudden, yeah, they're going to do that. And all of them votes are going to be for their favorite candidate. That's how they stole the election. That's how they stole it. But y'all don't care. I was talking to my wife the other day. And they saying, oh, well, y'all keep on talking about y'all election deniers. Y'all election deniers. I was telling my wife the other day. I said, well, we listened to Hillary Clinton for 4 years deny that she lost the election to Donald Trump. But now that the election got stolen from Donald Trump, people pointed out, said, well, you all need to investigate this. Oh, there's no evidence. Y'all didn't even check the evidence. Y'all didn't even look at the evidence because y'all were like, oh, no, we got our man. But then you would go on YouTube to talk about it and say, you know what, this election was stolen. They would take down your video. Well, how come y'all didn't take down the videos of people who said that Hillary actually won the 2016 election? I ain't seen no one's videos getting taken down there. And to this very day, Hillary Clinton thinks she won. Or at least thinks she should have won. You see how hypocritical these people are? Bunch of hypocrites. But they do the smoke and mirrors. You didn't see anything. Your lying eyes. Your eyes are lying to you. You're getting sleepy. Bunch of hypocrites. That's all of them. Every last one of them. But they want to sit here and point at you and tell you, no, you're this and you're that, gaslighting you. And because they had the louder voices, that's the one that people are going to listen to. And I see it all the time. And as long as God gives me the ability to, as long as He gives me the grace to do this, I'll keep on doing it. Last Saturday, I shortened my show because last Saturday I was invited by some friends to Greensboro to preach the word. I think I did pretty good. I'm not a person who likes to brag and, pat himself on the back or anything like that. But, I went out there and I did my thing, and I'm getting phone calls. Oh, Vincent, you're so anointed. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I really don't care about the accolades. I really don't. That's why I keep on doing this show week after week, and hardly anyone comes and shows up or interacts on it. I don't do it for the numbers. I don't care about the accolades. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. In a way, it's a way for me to vent. It get some things off my chest and whatever. But I rarely have anyone come to my show or anything. And I'm not upset with people because they don't come to my show. Oh, well, I guess I got to give up because nobody listens to me. Somebody will listen. Somebody will. Even if it's 2 people, 1 person, half a person, a quarter of a person. But, I did that thing last week, and now the word is out that someone might be having me speak at an event or something like that. I don't know what it is. And like I said, I don't care. I don't care about, I'm not trying to get my own church and trying to be a pastor or a minister or anything like that. All I want to be about is the truth. That's all I want to be about. All I want to be about is the truth. The truth cares. I care more about the truth than I do about any accolades. And if that time comes and God opens that door, then hey, I really believe he opened the door for me to do this. I really do. I really believe he did, because for years I wanted to say some things that I've seen, and I never had an outlet. And that's when I discovered Blog Talk Radio back in 2009, and I got on there, and I was there for, how long was I on Blog Talk Radio? 15 years. Got hooked up with conservative news media, CNN, John Garding out there. And then, Blog Talk Radio closed down, shut down. And that's when I switched to doing this podcast, which for some years I wanted to do a podcast anyway. And to be honest with you all, I really want to do my own radio program. Really. I don't know. I might just stick with the podcasting. I might just stick with this. This is pretty good for me. But I have these dreams. I really want a house because I want a 3-bedroom house, because one of those bedrooms I want it to be my quote unquote man cave. And that's where I set up my studio and everything. And, I can do this. I can, polish this up a little bit because, it's kind of cramped here in a 750 square foot apartment. It's not easy, you get a lot of clutter and everything, but as long as you all can hear me, I guess that's okay. But I'm not trying to be the next Rush Limbaugh or the next Sean Hannity or Neil Bortz or any of the rest of them. I just want to be Vincent Brown, or as I call myself on this show, Southeast Vince. And the reason why I call myself Southeast Vince, that was a old nickname of mine from high school. And since I live in the southeastern part of the United States, which is my favorite part of the United States, love it here in the Southeast. And, I decided to go with that name because, I love living in the Southeast. Now, the reason why they called me Southeast Vince because I lived in the D.C. area, and Southeast was a reputable part of Washington, D.C. That's where the gangsters and everything, the drugs and everything. And people, someone just called me Southeast Vince. I wasn't the type of person to get with gangs or drugs or any of that stuff. Be honest with you, I did not like living in D.C. did not like it. That's why I'm here in Durham right now, because I went from Washington, D.C. I went from D.C. to D.C., District of Columbia to Durham County. So in a way, I'm still in D.C., but, it's a different D.C. And, this is something I like doing. And, I got a little less than 20 minutes. But just to let people know, folks, whatever I say on this program, take it with a grain of salt, okay? Now, I really want to provoke your thought, if that's the correct term. I want you all to get out there and really think about what is being preached to you over the airwaves. Even if you go to church and your pastor is telling you something, you need to be proactive in your learning. You can't just take people's word at it. You can't take a person's word at face value. You just can't. You can't do that. And anything that I say on here, take it with a grain of salt, and go out and check. Go out there and check and see, if what I'm saying is true. I promise you that I try to bring the truth as much as possible on here. And I know I'm not a perfect person. I know I'm going to make mistakes. And if I make a mistake and you catch that mistake, say, hey, Vince, come here. Hey, you said this and this is what the deal is and everything. And if I look at it and I'm like, and I'm convinced of the truth, I'm like, okay, all right. And if I say anything on this program and you call me out on it, I will come on this program and I will apologize to my listening audience because I did it publicly. See, it's no pride here to hurt. You can't hurt my pride because I keep an open mind. I always want to keep my mind open to the truth. I don't want to be someone who's just tossed with, whatever he hears or anything like that. And there may be times in the future where someone says something and I just believe it. And then next thing you know, you find out it's not true. Like, okay, well, I fell for it, but hey, I'm not going to continue in cognitive dissonance. I'm not going to continue with the lie. And I know the truth. Too many people are like that. There are too many people like that. They don't care about the truth. The truth doesn't make them feel good. But like I said, if you hear anything on this program, and folks, you all don't do the little kindergarten recess sand slinging type of deal, getting up there, you want to act like you're 5 or 6 years old and go into the name calling and everything. Y'all don't do that. That's not a good way to carry on a conversation. Just say, hey, Vince, hey, come here. Yeah, check this out, man. What you just said, that's, you were wrong with this. I want you to check this out. And even, I might still disagree with you, but you know what? Like, okay, we agree to disagree. Okay, let's go out and get some ice cream or something, But, a lot of people, they want to be nasty about it. And it's our friends, the liberals, who are like that. I rarely see conservatives doing that. Very rarely. Very, very rarely. They do it, but it's very rare. But liberals, if you don't think like they do, and you got certain groups that are pro-black and everything, and they want you to think like they do, I don't want to think like you do, dude. I'm an individual. I might be black and everything, but I have my own unique set of dreams and aspirations and things and goals I want to reach. I'm not going to be like you, dude. So don't get mad at me if I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. That's your problem, not mine. I'm not going to sit here and, get all caught in, get caught up in a little sand slinging match with you because you disagree with me. You go right on ahead. But I just want people to know, I want people to know my heart, I want people to know that this is not a proud person who sits before you right now. I mean, we're all adults. We can correct one another. Nobody is perfect. No one's going to be perfect. That's one thing I understand. But instead of, just going off with your feelings, try to understand where I'm coming from when I say what I do. I guarantee you the things that you're thinking about me, it's not true. Oh, you hate being black. That's gaslighting. Who told you that I hate being black? Well, I can see it. No, you can't. So me telling the truth about black people means I hate being black? Because you can't come to terms with the truth, but you wanna say that, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't do this because I'm trying to hate black people or hold black people down. I want to see black people, I want to see them come up just like everybody else. But keep in mind, I don't like this patronization that people try to put us in. They try to patronize us. I don't like that. I don't like that patronization. Hey, black people, we love you too. We understand the racism that y'all gone through, but there are white people who are suffering from racism. Everybody has suffered from racism. What are you talking about? You didn't do anything to me. And you got these white liberal rascals stirring the pot. They're the ones keep things going. They just want to see something keep going. But I'm not up here because I want to see the downfall of the black man. I don't care about that mess. I don't care about that. I don't care about being black. I really don't. I'm not proud to be black. I don't sit around talking about, yes, I'm proud. Oh man, I come from a rich heritage. No, I don't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Maybe some other black people did. I don't come from a rich heritage. And I'm not going to sit here and be, oh yes, oh yeah. I mean, we're in the midst of Black History Month now. They call it Black History Month. I don't care about Black History Month. We're gonna take our history and pull it out and make it ours. It's all a part of all history. Teach it all together. And folks, let me say something else too, because a lot of times I hear people saying, well, the reason why we don't understand this because it wasn't taught to us in school. Well, what about at home? Keep in mind, your teachers can't teach you every single thing. They don't want us to know this. Well, you know it now, don't you? And how did you find it out? I was talking to my mom today. I said, I can remember growing up and having to do a report on Nicaragua. and we had have a library in Oxon Hill, Maryland, right there on Oxon Hill Road, Prince George's County. Last time I went to the DC area, my stepbrother had died. And the hotel we stayed in was less than a half a mile from where I used to go to the library. I took my wife there. I said, this is where we used to go to the library. That same library is there to this day. That same library. And the reason why I do this is because black people don't have an excuse for why they don't know anything. They want to sit there and blame teachers and whatever, but they don't go out and study for themselves. Their parents don't teach them anything. They don't make the home atmosphere conducive to their children's learning. The children grow up, they're dumb. They have children, they're dumb. Don't know anything, but they want to blame the teachers and they want to blame the white man. Now, if they didn't want you to know this stuff, trust me, you wouldn't know it. Go to these communist countries. They talk about burning books over here. They don't even know what they're talking about. What books are being burned? What books are being burned? Oh, they're burning books. They're burning books. Okay, what books are they burning? Or they're saying they're banning books. What books are they banning? Which ones? Give me the names of these books. But you see how, they use these vague statements. Oh, they're banning books. They're banning books. Okay, which books are they banning? But I guarantee you the books that are being banned, there's a reason why they're being banned. I can guarantee you. And it's not because there's too many black people in this book. That ain't why the books are being banned. The books are being banned because they got a lot of I know a lot of the books that they're trying to ban now, they got a lot of child pornography in them. Those are the books being banned. No one's trying to ban Up From Slavery. No one's trying to ban Uncle Tom's Cabin. No one's trying to ban any of these books. But they'll get out and, they're trying to ban books. Look at the conservatives. Look, Donald Trump. Everything that happens, Donald Trump. We've been having these same problems for decades, long before Donald Trump came into play. But now Donald Trump is in place, and now they want to blame him for all the ills of the world. Stuff been going on for decades. Economy's up, economy's down. Donald Trump gets in. Oh, it's Donald Trump's fault. He's the reason why things are bad now. He's the reason why our gas prices are so high. Oh shoot. Y'all forgot when Barack Obama was president. Here in North Carolina, gas prices went above $4. Y'all forget that, don't you? I ain't hear any of y'all blaming him for the spike in gas prices. But Donald Trump get in, y'all want to blame him for everything. I got too many roaches in my house. Blame Donald Trump. If Donald Trump would raise the taxes on the roaches, we wouldn't have any roaches. Come on, y'all. I know I'm trying to make it funny, trying to make it, make light with it, but y'all know. This is a crazy mess. Y'all want to blame him for everything. Like you know something, and you don't know anything. You're just going by what you hear on the TV. That's all you're doing. And folks, don't think because I talk like this that I won't point out those on my side either. Because I will. I already told you all I don't like Trump's rhetoric. I don't like how he can be he can seem a little bit smug sometimes. He can seem a little narcissistic, yeah. But as far as his job as a president, I think he's doing a doggone good job. Really. But there's certain things that he does, that he says, I don't like either. So don't sit there thinking I'm just caping for Donald Trump. No, I'm not caping for Donald Trump. People say, "Oh, you're just defending Donald Trump." Well, yeah, because people are lying against him. It's not because I have a dog in the fight. It's not because I'm a fan of Donald Trump. It's because folks are lying about him, and they're associating him with things that those on the left have been guilty of, but nobody said anything to them about it. Nobody said anything. Nobody says anything to them. You know, Barack Obama could probably rob a bank. Him and Michelle could rob a bank, kill a couple of people, get caught, and they'll probably give them a slap on the hand. Barack Obama, he robbed that bank because he's trying to get the money back to the people that the government stole. That's probably, they'll probably make up something like that. But anyway, you all, I'm going to go ahead in the show there. I sounded kind of ranty today. You know, I got off on a tangent and whatever. But I really do think that a lot of times when I do these little rants like this, I think a lot of times people need to hear it. And I also think that a lot of people can learn a lot from me by these rants. You know, well, let me check this out. It's basically me giving you a homework assignment without me giving you a homework assignment. But anyway, that's all the time I have for today. Next week, hopefully, God willing, I should have another show. But we'll see, you know. But anyway, you know, once again, like I said, just check out anything that I've said. You know, go match what I said to, you know, your research and your studies. Don't just sit there and say, "Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. He don't know what he's talking about. He just running off at the mouth." Okay, well, if I'm running off at the mouth, then show me where I'm running off at the mouth. Because I can guarantee you when I come on this program and I share these things with you, I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get you to think a certain way. You can think whatever way you want to. I'm just going to put the truth out there. And if you don't like the truth, well, then that's your problem, not mine. But anyway, you all take care of yourselves. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. This is Vincent E. Brown. I am signing off. And until the next time, I'll see you on the rebound.
You are listening to WVEB Truthsharks Radio.